Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pixel Pickers podcast. I am Josh, and I am joined by my irredeemable co-host, Jarvis. Say hello, Jarvis.
Hello, Jarvis.
So, Jarvis has been a very busy multiplayer busy bee lately, and he's got two games he wants to talk about this week. Jarvis, what are those two games?
So we're talking Bungie's upcoming September release, a Marathon, and Dreamhaven's upcoming sometime soon release, Wildgate.
So, I know Marathon was an alpha. Was Wildgate was what it was called, right? Was that a
Yeah,
beta or an
Wildgate.
alpha, or is it early access? Like, what's on that?
It's effectively not quite early access. This is like a community beta peak. It seems like it's coming up really quick, so they are just giving a last big peek rather than hey, give us a bunch of feedback on this one. Whereas Marathon definitely felt like an alpha phase for something.
Yeah, I was watching some marathon because I couldn't get into the alpha, and I was like, "Ooh, yeah, you can." When they said alpha, like like you've played betas before, you're like, "Oh, this isn't a beta. They just calling it that, so it's a demo, so people try
Yeah.
the gameplay." I was like, "Oh no, this some of this looks a little on the rough side. Like this is a little bit earlier build, and maybe they should have shown, in my opinion."
Oh, Josh, I think that's the aesthetic. I think you're slightly
No,
misled.
no, no,
Yeah.
no. I like the aesthetic. I'm talking about like I saw some visual glitches and like things with shaders just
Oh,
not
okay.
working. That's what I'm
Okay. I
talking
mean,
about.
yeah, that's gonna happen in like even in this day and age. That's gonna happen on a regular release, let alone an alpha release.
Yeah, that is true, unfortunately. So I kind of want to talk about since I know a bit more about Marathon, I do want to talk about not Splitgate, not Wildgate. God, you said there's so many
It is Wildgate. I don't know
Wildgate
why you just said it wasn't.
because the developer name also sounds like a game title. Was it
Dreamhaven?
Yeah.
Yeah, like an old game title.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're talking about
Definitely.
Marathon also, which hasn't had a game in 29 years.
Yeah, and to call this a sequel is like it's just patently untrue. I mean, yes, it does take place in this same exact universe and stuff, but it is not a sequel to Marathon in any way. Anyways, Wildgate.
Yeah,
That's the one that we're going to be talking about a little bit more.
Wildgate by Dreamhaven.
Specifically, I believe it is Moonshot Games is the I don't know if they're a sub developer. No, okay, yeah. So Dreamhaven is made up of different studios to include the recently released Secret Door release Sunderfolk. And then they also have a studio called Moonshot Games. So, huh, I just learned something about them. But yeah, Wildgate. So both the games we're talking about this week are extraction shooters, and how they deal with both shooting and extraction are wildly different. Just showing how like the basic name for the genre it doesn't really describe it at all. Like a role playing game, you play a role in the game.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that's every single
really
game.
narrowing it
But
down.
no, yeah, exactly. So, when we're talking about the extraction shooter of Wildgate, what you get is you get, I believe it's 6 ships going into this kind of wild rift area. It is every ship for themselves. It is a 4-person crew on each ship, and the uh, the modus operandi of each ship is to smash and grab, find the artifact in the rift, and then escape through the wild gate. So there are certain time things like the wild gate only opens up after a certain amount of time in a match. So you can't just go in, get 2 things, and get out. Like, and also that doesn't get you anything. The two like parameters for actual victory in Wildgate are last ship surviving or grab the artifact and go through the wild gate. In my experience, it's been much easier to be last ship surviving. So last ship surviving, basically with those 6 ships, your crew can go anywhere throughout the system. There's a really cool freedom of movement, and even on PS5 controller, like it felt really intuitive to fly around in this 3D space area, both in the ship itself and just floating around as a little space buccaneer. because that is what you are. This is, not selling it short. It is extraction shooter Sea of Thieves in space. Like that is the exact vibe.
So you mentioned that like you have two objectives. It's like get the artifact and leave, or kill everybody, or just be the last one not to be dead.
Yeah.
So is that like like it's a match you kind of enter? Like you can't just extract normally through the warp gate without the artifact?
I don't know. I haven't tried because that's losing. So
Okay, so it's
yeah,
it's less of gathering loot for like making better runs and more of like
no,
okay.
no. So this does not have the continuous aspect of the extraction shooter. This is go in, get something, extract out. You do end up getting upgrades for yourself and your characters, and there's a lot of different like character tracks you can put your little upgrade. Well, how this ends up being in the final game. It kind of felt all like the final version of everything at this point. But there's different tracks and stuff so you can upgrade different or not upgrade, but get access to different weapons and change your loadout and everything. Get different characters.
For like in between, that's like the in between match stuff right there.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so it seems like it's just a very unique style of like a regular like let's for just like lack of big descriptions, like regular PvP game where we all go in with a singular
Of a battle
objective.
royale. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's like
got 6 teams and they all have, one objective, which is typically just stay alive. But also you can go in, get the artifact, and get out if you don't want to be a part of the stay alive gang.
okay, so why would you ever extract? Is there a reason like to ever extract before gathering
Oh,
something? Like
again, no, I can't. The game has not presented a reason, and I can't think of why you would. So you either are extracting because you are extracting because you got the artifact. Like that's it.
oh, okay. So it
Yeah.
is more just a regular PvP game. So is it like guns and
Well,
like shooting, or is it ship versus ship combat like Sea of
it's
Thieves?
everything. So like Sea of Thieves, it is ship versus ship combat until you get, close enough or brave enough to board the other ship. And then you can sabotage the other ship. That can be everything from, placing bomb traps in the ship to overloading the reactor core, doing a bunch of different things. When you are killing enemies on their ship, they obviously get to respawn, so they have like a 10-second respawn on their ship. So you can get a lot of damage done if you sneak in there properly, kill them all, and then start messing shit up on the ship. Now if you die, you go back to your ship, you respawn however far away that is. So you got to kind of balance out when's the proper time to make the sneak attack, both in when they will expect it, but also when, if you die, you can get back in a reasonable amount of time and continue your shenanigans on their ship.
Okay, so is like so basically if the ship is still alive, they're still in the game.
Yep.
So the
Yep.
only
You
way
will
to eliminate
respawn
them
with
is get
your
rid of
ship
the ship.
until your ship has exactly 0 health left.
Okay, and can you like repair it like Sea of Thieves or anything?
Yep. Again, the Sea of Thieves like comparison is 1-to-1, with the exception of you're adding this extraction mode to it. But you are effectively swimming around. You're finding your little PvE areas to fight skeletons, or in this case, gloopy blob monsters. You get some loot from them, make your ship better, make your ship stronger, and then you fight off everybody else.
So what it kind of reminds me of, and like the way you describe it is like if we took aspects of like MOBAs where it's like go kill the mobs to like get gold and upgrade yourself to then like fight the other players kind of thing.
Yeah.
That actually sounds pretty cool. Is it do you know if like the beta early access thing is that still going?
So it is going until May 12th, which will be much after we post, or much before we post this episode,
Yeah, it'll be a couple of
because
days
we are
before.
recording on May 11th.
Yeah,
So
I put
I
in to get in for this because you told me to, and I didn't get in somehow. I think you've just
Ah,
been lucky with these things. You got Marathon, you got this. I did get rematched, so I did feel happy about that.
nice.
But
Yeah.
that's 1 for
I
3.
just, as soon as I hear about them opening, I pop my name in right away.
Yeah, I'm not a big, like, alpha, beta player normally. Like, I
Mm.
just something I ne
I am now. I like to appreciate what's possibly coming, and like I do like to give feedback, and see them make changes. Um, but yeah, there are some other kind of aspects that Wildgate both like borrowing or just using in their way. It is effectively a hero shooter. Each prospector you go in with has different health ratings and stuff based on their size. They have different abilities. Like I said, you can change your loadout and everything, so you can effectively make yourself like a shotgun wielding healer with any character as long as you've unlocked the weapons. Um, the combat system isn't like super in depth or anything at this point, but for what it is, which is, just really quickly blasting either, random PvE mobs or really quickly eliminating the enemy team, it's been pretty fun. As I said, I've got about 4 to 5 hours in the community playtest so far. But yeah, it's been really fun. I would say about 60% victories of 12 to 15 matches that I've
okay, a
fought.
little humble bragging, I like it, I like it. So, I had a question there. Okay, so yeah, alpha betas, they're about giving feedback. What would be the feedback you would give for this game from what you've played? Like,
From what I've played, um, you need more like you need more reason to go out hunting PvE stuff. At this point, after doing like maybe two locations, PvE fights and like little raids or little dungeons, which they don't take very long at all. Uh After doing those, you have enough to kind of be outfitted until you want to be like really big and bulky. I don't know if that's just because this is, the earliest portion of the game or what, but I would like to just see more variety and more like nice drops coming in. But again, it's hard to say if that's just a matter of it being a very early stage of the game or not.
people haven't really
But
figured it out yet.
exactly. And this could just be a small sampling of what they're actually going to offer you.
Okay, so
Um,
go ahead.
Oh, but other than that, and then just keep like developing your own individual style. It has a very like Lilo and Stitch era design aesthetic for its alien species. Very fun, very Disney, but not like super cartoony, but right on the line of it. And just keep hammering in on that and keep adding in characters and stuff. Like none of them are so different or anything that they'll unbalance the game. So just keep going in like that. Add a lot of variety.
Yeah, I need to look more into this game. Lilo and Stitch as like kind of like where you're pulling like the reference from. That sounds like a for video games a quite unique art style. I feel like it would stick out a lot.
Yeah, so I also think it's kind of similar to a lot of 90s stuff where you have kind of the Disneyfied aesthetic of even something as ugly as Toejam and Earl have a certain like they know Disney lines in their uh the way they are shaped.
It's got kind of that almost.
Shhh.
It has almost what you'd call like kind of like a gross charm to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So very 90s indeed. How long are like the matches in the game? Because like you mentioned, like you're going down and doing PVE stuff, then it's
Yeah.
basically first to
Um
survive usually.
my fastest match, which is where everyone just started blasting each other immediately, that was probably like 8 minutes long. And we just we came out in second in that, I remember. But yeah, it was just like everyone was close enough to each other or determined enough to find each other fast enough that they all just started blasting. On the
Just
other
really
side, I'd
forgot about the
say,
rest of the game on that match.
I mean, hey, that's somebody won.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid strategy if it
um,
works.
exactly. But for the most part, I'd say the matches typically last like 25, 35 minutes. Nothing crazy. Same thing as, a typical non-competitive MOBA would take you.
Okay, so pretty, that's pretty involved for a what you call it, a like multiplayer game. That's a pretty long match.
But yeah, but I figure, it's also for people that are looking for alternatives to, COD zombies. This doesn't have like the carryover of a Tarkov, obviously. But it does also replace that. Or it even replaces Sea of Thieves, and it cuts out the pesky, like,
The travel
how
portion
would you say?
almost,
Yeah,
the
your
griefing.
actual travel from spot to spot, it condenses the most fun parts of the game into a small bit, but then you lose out on the funny, just sailing around being silly portions of the game.
Yeah, the good like role playing emergent gameplay moments.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I actually think you could easily give Sea of Thieves kind of this sort of short form battle royale mode, and really watch that game take off if they offered that as a separate mode away from the MMO aspect.
Okay. Um yeah, I really need to check this game out now. Wildgate. We don't know a
Wildgate.
release date yet that you know of.
No, not that I saw. I was just scouring their site to see if there's anything else about it. Oh, yeah. It just says coming 2025. Like I said, it does not feel like a game that's very far off.
It feels pretty complete, other than maybe like some probably late game stuff that you just haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I mean, it needs a lot more. It needs, more maps, more variety, and everything. So again, what I'm hoping for is that this is just the early preview of what they're showing us, not because if every game was, basically the same map with one of four ships, and I'm falling off a little.
Falling off.
Yeah, I'm falling off it if it doesn't build from what they're currently showing me.
Oh, so I know a lot of games will release, like it might release like with one or two maps, and then like have a content roadmap, especially for these smaller
Yes.
studios like this. Like you might be playing what is already like 80% of what this is going to be there on release, and then over like the next 6 months, you might get a map, some characters, and stuff like that. Would you still be interested if they were going for like that kind of like maybe slower rollout, like the
Yeah, no, I don't need it to be everything right away. Like I'd say there's not really any multiplayer game that releases as a full product right now. It's just not a thing, You have to kind of bend to community whims and wishes at a certain point. But yeah, of course, if as long as there was plans to, do something more.
okay? Yeah, I don't really have anything else to ask about Wildgate. Is there anything else you want to like throw in on that before? Oh, what's the
No.
dog doing?
Yeah, I had a fun time. I will definitely, if we're not too far off from release, I will definitely be signing up for another, beta or open community testing. And if release is close, I will be eyeing the price tag. This would be an auto buy at a 40 or 50, I'd say, for me. And
Okay,
then
good.
anything above that, and I'm gonna wait for a sale.
That's
Unless
fair.
everybody else buys it.
If you get peer pressure, then maybe
Yeah, that is an unstoppable like force for
powerful
me to
drug.
overcome.
Everybody's
Yeah.
playing. You're like, come play with me, and you're like, but it's so
Yeah.
expensive. Fine, I guess I won't eat
Fine.
today.
Yeah.
But so you've also been playing, well, we're playing the Marathon Alpha, which was running from like the
Yes.
23rd and it ended May 4th, about a week and some change, about a week ago.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah. So this was basically my marathon I got my invite to the marathon closed alpha, and I didn't realize it for like 2 days. But mostly I was working, and probably if I had the invite at the time, I just would have been working, but much more sleepy. So I'm kind of glad that I missed a couple days. Um, because initially when I started it, I was hooked. So Marathon, as discussed before, this is technically a sequel. I'm sure the term spiritual sequel will also get bandied about for this one to 1995.
1996 was the last Marathon game.
Huh.
Marathon Infinite.
Yeah, that's not Bungie though.
It is owned by Bungie. Bungie owned.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, Bungie only made Marathon.
I think they made Marathon 1 and 2.
I
Nope,
don't
nope,
think
nope.
so.
They're all 3 are made by Bungie. I'm reading it right here. Marathon Infinity is a first-person shooter. Third one, the science fiction. Yeah, it was made by Bungie and Double Aught. So it was kind of
Huh.
like a co-production. Probably Double Aught just like made it, and Bungie was like giving them the buy off on things and the assets, most likely.
Maybe they published it
Maybe
because they would have been publishing at the time. I've just never heard them.
they are also the publisher. Yeah,
Huh. Interesting.
because 96 they should have been deep in the Duffy on making Halo at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh,
Anyways,
yeah.
so
Point. That's 30 years ago. Who
in
cares?
yeah, it came out in 1994, and it is technically a sequel to a weird. The main plot of that being going to settle on Tau Ceti 4, and then through some what do you call them, cinematics right at the beginning of this, they're like, it all fucked up, and maybe it blew up, maybe there's like angry people there, maybe some droids did some stuff. Also, there's some like weird Destiny Space Witch shit we see in a trailer, and there's a bunch of like weird biological contaminants. But basically, you are going to go down onto this planet in a little robot body, and then just find whatever good shit was possibly left behind by the people that tried to colonize it, and get the fuck out of there. Yeah, and this is a pure like by the numbers of an extraction shooter. You go in with your tool set, you loot and maybe upgrade as you go, and then you either die and lose it all there, or you extract and get to keep what you got. So that is exactly by the numbers of extraction shooter, rather than our last game, which kind of skirts the line of it, but it all still counts. Like even Helldivers, it's weird to think about. Well, Helldivers 2, it's like, yeah, that is an extraction shooter. It's
Very
weird to think about
like,
it that way.
Loosely, yeah. Like you go in, you collect materials, you do the missions, you get out.
And you extract. Yeah, I don't even think it's loose. I just think it doesn't have the hallmark that we associate of,
like
the
PvP
keeping your persistent
and
shit.
like backpack stuff and things like that. So Marathon does have that. So
yes, Marathon big time on collecting a whole bunch of bullshit to fill up your backpack.
Hell yeah. Honestly, I was watching gameplay and I was like, man, I kind of wish I got into this alpha. I don't know how to like. For some reason, it gave me Apex vibes. Like if Apex Legends had extraction shooter game, like I'm like, this is what it would be.
Yes. Well, and I mean, it comes down to it. It is, very quick time to kill once the gunfight actually starts. That's very Apexy. 3-person teams, obvious.
They all have weird abilities.
One moment, Ruby, back off. Go on. Go. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so like there's 3-person teams, like, and it looks like it's really built around you going in as a team. Where a lot of extract shooters are like you just kind of like traditional like extract shooters like Tarkov, the Cycle, things like that. You go in by yourself mostly, and you can squad up with people, but like you have to find them, and nothing says they're friendly. You can kill your friends on accident because there's nothing that tells you that you're friends. Like this game has like that Destiny.
This is a very particular type of extraction shooter that we're talking about there, which is like the hardcore,
Right, but it's
survivalist
when
extraction
you talk
shooter.
about extract shooters, that's what people think of. You know what I'm saying?
I
100%.
go to Steam. Yeah, go
We
to Steam and tell me what the top extraction shooter game
It's
is.
probably Warzone because the categories on Steam don't matter. You can put
But
people can put whatever
but you
category they
can't
want.
say what people talk about when they mean it when people are applying these categories to those games, which they are that. They're just not the survivalist extraction shooter.
You're being pedantic. But
No, you're being pedantic because you refuse to actually have arguments.
I'm
And you're like, no, this is what I think it means, and you're pedantic. And then you run away
I'm
like
not
a
I'm
bitch.
not running away like a bitch. When you talk about in the game industry about extraction shooters, like Rainbow Six Extraction is not an extraction shooter. It is labeled as an
Right.
extraction shooter because people are stupid. People make dumb decisions. We do not trust Steam charts to see how well a game is doing. We do not trust Steam categories to correctly label a game. That's how you end up with Sifu as the best fighting game at the Game Awards. Like,
So, but here's my question. Why are these other games that don't do the same thing as Tarkov and the one that you played, uh, why aren't they extraction shooters?
so from what
Why is Helldivers not an extraction shooter?
I literally should agree with you that it was, but like
Okay.
not. It's like a little bit less of the traditional,
But
like what established the genre. You know,
yeah, but okay, so why is Warzone not? Or why would COD Zombies why would COD Zombies not be?
because COD
If
Zombies you go until
Helldivers
you die.
is. No, you extract. That is how you win.
Oh, I thought it was just you went to the highest round. I've played
No,
2 COD
no.
Zombies in my life, and one was World at War. So
So okay, but then where's your limit for it no longer being an extraction shooter versus I don't know, an arcade shooter is I guess how you would define it?
I mean, so an arcade shooter would be like I would call COD an arcade shooter, right? Very
Yeah,
fast paced, like
score
score
system.
systems,
Yep,
things like
not.
that. Like arena shooters would be like Quake, Unreal Tournament, and like extract
Yeah.
shooters, like I would say it's like the Cycle, which is dead. Tarkov. What's that? The hunting one. I can't think what it's called. The Hunt
So
Showdown.
the Hunt Showdown. So it is literally only ones in which you go in and out with the same equipment.
Where
Those
yeah,
are the only ones you consider
I
extraction
can so I
shooters.
consider it's like extraction shooters have a progression system where you go in, you harvest loot or take loot from players and like what we call them NPCs, and you're completing missions for NPCs, and you have to extract without dying. And if you die, you lose all your stuff, and like you made zero progress. You actually lost process because you lost your weapon, you lost your backpack, helmet, etc.
So you have to lose. Yeah,
There
the inventory
has to
is
be
an essential part for you.
for me. Yes, I feel like that's part of the risk reward system of it. Like there's Dark and Darker that also does this. That's not necessarily a
Yeah.
shooter, but it's still an extraction
Yes,
game.
but it's a first-person shooter. You use a bow, or you can use magic or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
That's being
That's
pedantic.
pedantic.
um. So then, why do you consider Helldivers 2 to be one? Because it doesn't
I
follow
say
those
very
rules.
loosely because it kind of does. So you go in. The only thing you get to keep really is your weapons that you call down. But like you go in and you have to find samples and complete missions and
Yeah.
leave. Otherwise, you lose. So like I say
Well,
very
that's just
loosely.
progress in any game.
Not necessarily. A lot of games you can find stuff and you keep the progress. Like if I was to go play Destiny 2 right now and I go through
No,
and
no,
I
no,
run
no.
a mission.
I'm saying like with the example of Helldivers 2 being an extraction shooter, like the progress you get is always progress when you take it back. Like of course it is. What makes it an extraction shooter then?
I So it is very, I would say, like very loosely. It has extraction shooter elements to it, kind of like how games have
Hmm.
RPG elements, but like you wouldn't call Devil May Cry a like RPG in the way we think about it. But you have upgrade systems; those
Well,
are
yeah, because
RPG elements,
we have a term for it now, character action RPG.
right?
Like
But like
yeah.
those are technically like RPG elements if we were to like break it down, but we wouldn't call it an RPG. So it's one of those things where it's also like a burgeoning like genre. Like when the battle royales were coming out, every game like was a battle royale. They all followed the very similar structure. Like even like not knockout city. What was the wrestling one?
I didn't play it.
It was pretty cool. But like you had like actual like fighting game moves in there, but it was still a battle royale where like the circle closes. It's like last
Yeah.
team to win or like whatever. Even though all the mechanics are different, it's still a battle royale game because it has those like key characteristics. So
Yeah,
like
you're the one fighting against things being classified into extraction shooter, even when they do share the key characteristics.
again, like it's one of those things like just because something has elements from something doesn't make it something. That's like more of an ingredient thing. Like some things are pure like extraction shooters. Like Tarkov, like that's like for example, like that's like the most extreme. Like if we had
Yeah,
to like distill what an extraction shooter was into its purest form, it would be Tarkov. And like if we had to go like all the way to the left, which would be like the barest minimum of an extractor, I would say like at like Helldivers. Like if I had to like explain what extractor is, and for somebody who's barely played any like only the biggest games that come out in the years, like I would liken some of the elements of Helldivers to it. Like is Helldivers an extractor? Probably not. Barely, kind of,
I think
maybe.
it is. I think that you are defining it way too
Granularly.
strictly. Yeah.
That's fair. But also, video game genres are stupid and don't really matter. Now that I think about it, like I know I'm arguing it because that's my brain wanting to put things in nice little boxes. But like what
Yeah.
like I want you to tell me what an action adventure game is and what isn't. Like who knows? You know what I'm saying?
I could do it easy. I just need them put in front of me and I can tell you if it's an action adventure game or just an action game. Easy. Does it make me feel like Indiana Jones? No, action.
So Prince of Persia would be an action adventure game.
Nope, there's no adventure. He goes nowhere in that one.
But you're exploring like a ancient tomb or wherever you're going in those games.
Indiana Jones doesn't just explore one tomb. In every movie, there's always like a big lead up, and there's an adventure to get to that tomb.
So for it to be action adventure, it'd have to be in multiple areas for you.
Yeah, it has to have adventure.
But like what constitutes as adventure? You can adventure in a
Travel.
singular place.
I don't
I
think you can
I
because
can
adventure means toward like a thing. So I think to adventure you need to move
yeah,
forward.
I'm adventuring towards the fucking where like the end of the story. I'm adventuring to whatever the MacGuffin is. I'm
Yeah,
moving
I
towards the
don't think this is
MacGuffin.
working for you. You're plotting there, certainly.
I'm
I don't
plotting
think
there.
you're
Oh, I'm
adventuring.
action plotting now. That's my new game genre. But anyway, we are getting super sidetracked, arguing over actually nothing. The world is on
Yeah.
fire, and we're arguing about extraction shooters. But I do want to talk about Marathon because, like I said, I've been watching some gameplay of it, and so I just want to know they have like, a bunch of different runners. Which, if you've seen the movie Surrogates, probably not the most apt example. Probably Avatar would be a better, more recent example of what the runners are, like fake bodies you can inhabit with special abilities.
Yeah. I think we are now to the point of sci-fi where this has become like rote enough where you can just be like, it's a robot body you can control.
Okay,
Like, and people just get that now. Whereas like, I don't know, let's say the 1950s talking about like a matter teleporter, that would be weird, like even for a sci-fi audience. And it's like, I'm not quite picking up what you're putting down. But you move a little forward and you're like, oh, it's a teleporter like Star Trek.
easy
Gotcha.
day. So,
Yeah.
how many runners were like available in the alpha?
4.
Four. Which one did you play as?
I mostly did Shield Boy and Recon Lady. There's also Stealth Guy and Glitch Girl.
Do the runners feel very different? Other obviously than like two
Yeah,
abilities. Do they have
the
like different
Apex.
speeds and stuff?
Yeah, the Apex similarities don't die on the face. Like it does feel like each character is kind of built around their one thing. Maybe that's holding up a shield, maybe that's going invisible, uh causing enemies to glitch out and reveal their locations, or just being like revealing their locations via like a sonar or stealth. Like it's this exact same type of abilities you would see in a game like
Yeah, like
Apex, like
you
of
literally see
recon
like
reveals.
Bloodhound's ability with the recon reveal, like the shield I think is like bulwark
Exactly.
thing.
Yep.
And then they even have like people who do glitch stuff in Apex. So like,
Yep.
but like somehow like even though that feels like I don't want to say ripped off because that feels I don't know aggressive.
These aren't new or unique
Yeah,
ideas.
but I think
Like,
it's just
yeah.
that Apex is so big and still
Yeah.
relatively popular to where it feels like ooh that looks like very similar.
Oop. Yeah. But I mean, I if you're gonna release a major mainstream 3v3 uh effectively battle royale shooter and give me characters with similar designs and nearly the same exact like powers and stuff, you got to be doing everything else like really spot on. And for the most part it feels okay.
So yeah, because
um no, go ahead.
I was gonna say like I consider Bungie like one of the kings of like gunplay and like how guns feel to shoot. Like you can look at Halo and for me Destiny, especially Destiny 2, and it's like more like a current set. Guns feel awesome and the gunplay feels great. How did like
Yeah.
watching it, it looks fun, but that's different than being on the sticks or on the mouse, you know?
So more so than Destiny, these are you're playing with much more like rigid guns and stuff. And just like a more rigid move set. But outside of that, it does feel really good. Like the gunplay is fun. It's very quick when, especially in PvP. PvE can kind of get drawn out just because, like the robot soldiers you're fighting, they have, there's quite a few of them, or they have different abilities that'll get them going for a little bit longer, but you can still, end an encounter with them really quickly just by sneaking in. That's what this one is providing, is just like a Deus Ex level of different ways to attack each such situation. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but it really is just you can break every window, you can crawl in every little sphere or every little vent, you can get around any way you want, or you can just be super duper loud going in to crush the enemy. And that's typically more my way, but I had a couple of fun stealthy runs.
So I'm just only you saying Deus Ex like like that style. Yeah, that sold me on the game even more. I love like those Deus Ex. What do they call those types of games? Like Prey, Deus Ex,
Immersive
immersive
Sims.
sims. I really fuck with those types of
Yes.
games, and that really sold me on that with like their style of like gunplay that they do. Uh, and from what I see, like when I was talking about like if we distilled extraction shooters down to like their base form, they are inherently like very punishing games. Like you
Yeah.
die quick and you lose everything and it's over like that. And that's why I don't play these games because I feel like I'd put a hole through my monitor. But in Marathon, like they have a revive system, very like Apexy almost.
Yep.
And how
Exactly
does
like
that
Apex, I would say.
how do you, yeah, how does that like does that lower the tension for you at all in like a good or a bad way, or does it make you feel like you have an actual
um
chance?
I feel better with it, especially if I have to be playing with a group anyways, cuz if you play solo, you are playing solo on a map with other grouped up people. So you really have to be confident in your skills or your opponent's lack thereof. But yeah, it felt good to have the revives and stuff. I don't have the same sort of like super fear of dying in these games and like losing everything. One, especially because it was like the closed alpha. So I wasn't really like super committed to
This
progress.
is all
But
going away
also just
anyway.
because, yeah, sort of the Dark Soulsy thing of me just not caring if I lose all progress. now because I get it. Like I still have everything that's inside of me. Thank you, Miyazaki. You taught me this. I don't need the extra stuff. I can go back for that.
So one of my favorite things, so people ask like, Bungie was like, yeah, the game is built around 3-player teams, and people are like, oh, can you solo fill like go solo or duos? And like, yeah, you can do that. And people are like, oh, cool. Is there like any benefit to that? And they're like, yeah, the benefit is a tactical disadvantage. Like,
Yeah,
there's no reason to like unless you just don't want to like bother with other people like to ever go solo, which I thought was
I
very
did it a
funny.
couple of
How did it
times.
feel?
I calming.
Really?
You know,
It was of like what I
yeah,
seen a very
it's
quiet
just
game.
nice to kind of be out there. Yeah, it's a very quiet game. It's in that respect, it has more involved with like CS:GO or Valorant. Just like very quiet until it's not, and then everything is just going off.
You,
And then by that time, either the game's over or you're dead.
so how long is like if you got into a firefight with a team, like is that like quick? Like what you said they were fast. Like is that like a minute long
With a
maybe?
team, it's variable on them. But yeah, it's not too long. It is equivalent to a kind of a late game Fortnite fight where everybody has their equipment, or like a just kind of a standard Apex fight. So, no longer than a minute.
Okay, yeah.
Unless people like really start utilizing the space, but there's not like huge traversal options or anything at this point
Like a
at
basic
this like
mantle
juncture of the
like
game.
slide, it looks like.
Yeah. Yep. You have like relatively limited stamina, it feels like, and then you can jump, slide, do a little roll after a big jump. Not too much else.
Are those some like things you can upgrade? Like I saw like I
No.
saw things like you could like put like chips into yourself almost that give you like maybe those only upgrade like your abilities.
Yeah, so yeah, that's more like on the fly stuff that you can upgrade like your speed and stuff like that. But that is again, that's something that you're going to be bringing with you on every run, that when you die, you will lose all of it. So it
Okay.
is just an augment for that
Okay,
body,
so it's not like
not
you've
like
generally improved over the time. It's like
yeah.
you found this,
There's
you can use
no
this.
there's no persistent personal upgrade in this game, but you can get sponsored by a company and then keep doing jobs for them, and they will give you rewards from money, actual like items, to the ability to buy like sponsorship kits, and that's just like a good price for a nice loadout to take with you in case like you die or
Oh,
something.
that's pretty cool. Because like when I
Yeah.
did try the extraction shooters, something that did happen was very early on, like I like had 3 bad runs in a row, and I was going in basically like the starter pistol, and that can't kill anything
Yeah.
like any player basically. They will just mop the floor with you. So like I
Yeah.
like that. It's like, oh well, hey, if you lost everything, like you still have like a route to like get a decent weapon to like get back
Yeah.
in the fight. That's actually so it looks like they're kind of removing those barriers you would see in like the traditional
They're
extraction
making them
shooter.
into good games, you mean? Yes, I agree.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say that because like those fans they'll release my IP. I don't want to do that. But
But
they're making them more
yeah, no,
fun, I would
they're
say.
gamifying the game.
Yeah, let
Like it's the same thing that Fortnite did to PUBG.
yeah, pub yeah.
Um we'll just see how successful this ends up being, cuz they're effectively trying to eat the breakfast off the table of a little guy. If you consider Tarkov a little guy. Um for for Bungie, absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean when you compare the two, yes, one is way bigger than the other.
Yeah.
Like Tarkov may be the
Um
biggest in the scene in a very small niche scene.
exactly. Yeah. And I don't know what their team looks like either. Um but yeah, like it's interesting because other than that, like the next biggest one I see is probably the Hunt Showdown. And even then, like that just has its little squad of dedicated players. Like I don't know. I don't know that there's a huge mass crying for extraction shooters or extraction shooter s games, but it definitely feels like people think there is right now.
I think it's because
So we shall
they
see.
do good numbers on like Twitch and stuff, but
They
I
do.
don't know what their actual player count is. Because like me, I've
Well,
watched extraction shooters, but playing them, I don't like playing them.
yeah.
Granted, I've only ever played them really alone, so that's not like I think the ideal way to do any multiplayer game personally.
Yeah, it's definitely not my style.
So,
My dog just walked in and sat on the chair next to me. She's very cute.
oh, so
Sorry.
cute.
Very distracting.
Dogs do that. It's very understandable. So one of the things like about these types of games and why they really do well on Twitch and TikTok and all your like different video platforms is emergent gameplay moments. Like these games are like there's a story to them usually, but the story is really what the players make in the moment. With like the like, is there like local voice chat in this game that you noticed?
I would have absolutely no idea. That's the first thing I turn off when I play these games. I
Oh,
don't think there is, but yeah, I didn't notice any proximity chat settings. But yeah, I turn off voice chat immediately. I only talk with people I know online.
oh,
I learned my lesson long ago.
the 2008 COD lobbies changed the man.
Yeah,
Because
walk right back
I
out.
think the like proximity chat, I think those are like really great. Like games of proximity chat are very fun, especially because like you don't have to constantly stay in contact with that person. Like hate when you're like
Yeah,
in a lobby and it's just a bunch of people talking over each other. Like in these games, I can just walk away. But also like playing these types of games and hearing people talking and sneaking up on them, it really gives like that solid Snake vibe almost.
yeah.
And the other thing is, Bungie said this was going to be a premium title, but not a full price title. So I'm assuming like you thinking like $40-$50 for this, and does that seem like a fair
I think
price?
I think 50 and it's fair as long as we're talking Bungie. So, it's support that they need. People need to play the game. But as long as we're talking like a lively release schedule, I'd be down to keep playing this and because I will say the story setting and just the overall vibe have 100% got me.
Yeah,
I really enjoy the aesthetic.
you really maybe watch those the videos they released. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are pretty bomb. If you haven't watched those,
Yeah.
the like the cinematics they released that kind of like they're the vibe and like kind of like the story of what's going on in the new marathon game. They're really rad. And
Really, really good.
they really give you a good vibe. So I've seen a lot of people calling for this, saying that this needs to be a free to play game.
Mm,
Like,
I don't know. It really depends. If it's free to play, it's going to have, dumb cosmetic pricing. If it's pay, at least initially, it's going to go free within a year, through Game Pass or PS Plus or wherever. And other than that, like, as long as the pricing is reasonable, which there's no reason to expect it to be because, I pay $70 for, let's say, like Diablo 4 and look at the pricing on the cosmetics in that game.
right? I mean,
Absolutely insane.
you don't even have to look that far. You can look at Destiny 2 with their cosmetic pricing, where you're paying $20 for a skin for a
Yeah.
weapon or a sparrow in that game. Like that's
After you shelled out, another 40 for the most recent expansion that just came out.
yeah, yeah. I really need those expansions to go on sale so I can play the last two, Final Shape and
I think most of them just did, at least on PlayStation.
I'll have to take a peek. Gotta load up my Warlock again. But is there anything else you want to like throw down on Marathon that I might have missed in asking questions? Something like you really liked about it that we just didn't get to talk about?
No, as I was saying, I really like the setting and story. I think it's intriguing, and I think like overall, I could see having a lot of fun just in that world. But dog fell off the chair. Um, but other than that, yeah, nothing specific.
Okay, well, I think that will wrap us up for the video game portion of our podcast of the week. But Jarvis, every week we always like to take a moment and remember life isn't all about what is an extraction shooter. Sometimes it's about real important real life things. So we like to bring a recommendation from each of us about something that is not video game related for you guys to check out. Jarvis, do you have any recommendations for this week?
I do. This is kind of coming off the news that a season 2 and 3 filming is occurring back to back for this show. But I'm gonna recommend Netflix's, specifically Netflix's, because there's 2 or 3 adaptations of this. Three Body Problem. This is an adaptation of a 2000s, well, start of a trilogy called Remembrance of Earth's Past or
It's
something like
something
that.
like that, but the
I can't
first
quite
book is the
remember.
three body problem.
And yeah, the first book is the Three Body Problem, based on the scientific principle. But if you watch it, you will learn quite a bit about the Three Body Problem as it relates to physics. But the interesting thing about the Netflix adaptation, it is DB Weiss and David Benioff, better known as the Game of Thrones boys, and they are kind of on their shit in a good way for this one. It feels like a big passion project for them again, and also it's something with a definite end that already exists. Now, I will say, I fell in love with the series the first time I watched it when it came out. I think 2021 or 2022. And I listened to the next 2 books. They sound effectively completely unfilmable to me, so I don't know what the hell they're gonna do. But so far, I've really enjoyed the series, and I've enjoyed it again for a second time. The thing that they do in this one is that they kind of transfer a large portion of the cast from modern day China to mostly England. But yeah, I have a really good time with this one. It gets weird, and then it gets weirder, and then it becomes literally impossible to stop watching. But it starts out pretty plain, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, that's one of those
that's
books
that's 3 minutes on Three Body.
that's been one of like those books that's been on my TBR for a long time actually. Like I think it's just
Yeah,
sitting somewhere on my Kindle and I just haven't got around to it.
I don't recommend reading it, to be
Really just
honest.
go straight in for the watch the movie on this one.
Yeah, I would just watch the show. It distills what makes the like scientific portions and like the fantastical portions of it really fun. But also it looks really great when it's trying to be, and it looks really fun and funky and kind of like retro VR weird to me when it's like also trying to be weird. But the biggest thing is it makes the characters into actual characters, and removes some weird character traits that Cixin Liu had on some of these characters. So
Okay.
yeah, just my personal opinion. And then, like I said, if you find yourself hounding for more, then I would pick up the next 2 books.
Yeah, I need to check that one out. My recommendation is so I know I've done a couple of these recently, but I'm doing another music recommendation. So,
Okay.
yesterday I went to a show with my friend. He is a very big August Burns Red fan, which is a not metalcore. I don't know how you would how would you describe August Burns?
I think you could say metalcore.
Like more like
I think that's one
hardcore
of the
metalcore, I'd say.
yeah. They just that's a very broad genre again.
Yeah.
Music genres matter even less than game genres. But yeah, they're around metalcore,
So we went to one of their shows, and
Christian
it was
metalcore.
a very like small, intimate show. And like August Burns Red is a they're a band that plays for like thousands of people at a time at like festivals normally, but they were on tour with another two bands, Bullet for My Valentine and Trivium, and Bullet for My Valentine and Trivium are playing a festival, and August Burns Red wasn't. So they literally threw like a kind of a pop up concert almost in
Oh damn.
like under a bar, like a bar that had like a music venue under it for like less than 200 people.
Oh, hoo, hoo.
Yeah, it was very intimate.
Yeah.
Like my friend who has been to like 30 August Burns Red concerts to include like their Christmas concerts. He's like, this is the closest I've ever like seen them. So that was cool. But I want to recommend a band that was one of the openers, which was apparently a newer, like kind of local to Virginia band named Vara Alta, Vara Alta. And
Vara Alta.
yeah, so they're also a metalcore band, but there was just something about their production quality, even in such a small like room, to where like it's very easy for bands like this to sound just like really heavy noise, where you kind of like tune out, just kind of feel
Yeah.
the vibrations. Like August Burns
Yeah.
Red kind of felt like that when they played, but this band, like all their instrumentation came through clear. Like both their vocalists, like the layering they were doing was like incredible for like this small band who I went and looked up after has like less than 200 monthly listeners on Spotify,
Oh, wow.
and they ripped ass. Like they were honestly, they were the best part of that night. And the
Nice.
worst part of that night is when somebody got launched from the pit, launched my glass through the air, and those got stomped in the pit. That was not great. Yeah, that
No.
was really bad. But this band was great, and I bought one of their shirts. And I just want to recommend people, if you like metalcore music, check them out. They're on Spotify, Apple Music. Very good. I think if you were going to like check out one of their songs, just listen to like Cynic's Crown. Was a really good song. And like they only have like what 10 or 15 songs, so theoretically you can get through most of it in like 40 minutes because they're
Yeah.
very new. But there was some
Nice.
really good shit. Highly recommend. Support small bands, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's always fun to, find someone new and small because they have the like potential to grow so big.
Yeah, like I went and bought merch, and then I bought a shirt because they have like they're like they have their album Neon Skyline, I guess it's called. The shirt looks
Hmm,
really cool. It looks like almost like cyberpunky, like influenced. And it's just a dope shirt. And I was like,
nice.
I like these guys. Let me buy merch them because it's how they make their money. They don't make money off tickets really. So they
Yeah,
can,
yeah.
and like I met, the lead singer was like shook my hand, introduced himself. I was like, oh nice, how you doing?
Nice.
So it was a really cool experience, and they're a really good band. So I highly recommend checking them out. But
Nice.
yeah, other than that, Jarvis, I think that's all I have. Is there anything else you wanted to throw out this week? 'Cause I know next week I'm definitely gonna be talking about Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yes, I probably will be as well. Uh I do want to say one thing. Despite both of us having played this game, we haven't mentioned it a single time in our extraction shooter listing and stuff. Witchfire, a very good, very fun extraction shooter.
Yeah, I guess you could call it that.
That
Yeah,
that is
yeah. You
entirely an
you go
extraction
in,
shooter. You
you
just
go in, you collect the souls and whatever else like tchotchke, not tchotchke, like resource you can find, and you have to
yeah.
leave. Yeah,
Yep.
no, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'll get to you. That would be a single player extractor. I will co-sign
Yeah.
that one. Also,
That
Witchfire
one's fucking
rips
great.
fucking ass, and you should play
Yeah.
Witchfire. That's the best
It's a
Souls
small
like game that's ever
studio.
been
It
made.
has It has fully like Destiny feeling gameplay or like gunplay and movement, except it's all based in like 1700s, 1800s weird alchemical ass looking things. It's all very cool, very fun. Small studio. It's only $40 and it goes on sale quite a bit.
And they're still adding to
Yeah,
it.
and they're still adding to it. I think they're looking for a full 1.0 release in the beginning of next year, is
I
what
need
I
to play
saw.
some more Witchfire. They recently did a big update for it a couple months ago, and I haven't got around to it. Like,
Yes, they
if you
did.
like Souls games and you like things like Destiny and things like that, this is like the amalgamation of all those things.
Yeah.
And I don't like Souls games, and I fucked with Witchfire. The game does get very
Very good.
hard though. It's very, very
Oh yeah,
hard.
yeah,
Highly recommend
yeah.
Witchfire.
We could accidentally do another half hour on Witchfire, but I was just thinking about it and wanted to add that in on our before we
Yes,
fully
thank
closed
you
out.
for
Sorry to
no,
hijack at the
no,
end.
thank you.
Other than that, no, I
That
don't have
game
anything.
rips. I'm glad
Yeah,
you
so
brought that
good,
up. I feel bad that did not bring
good,
that game up.
good.
But yeah, that's all for us. So, as usual, guys, take care of yourself. would like to thank Regina Marzullo for our podcast logo as always. And Jarvis, you know what? I want to thank you too for coming and doing this to me. It's
Oh,
always so very fun to do this.
absolutely. I can't possibly find a way to make time for my friends unless I'm turning it into some sort of weird hobby. So I'm glad that you're the friend that I'm able to do this with.
Hell yeah. That's how you make friends is you make them get into your hobbies and argue with you for the internet.
This is true. Exactly. It's the only way I know how now.
But Jarvis, can you send us off in the way we are always sent off?
It's dangerous to go alone. Take us. Bye.
Bye.